Hello, gentle viewers. Welcome back to another episode of Carits Connect. I am Fatifa Alvin Manka, your host for today's edition. Still enveloped in the ambience of the 75th anniversary of our beautiful diocese and awaiting the election of our new shepherd, the Pope. Carits Connect is back on your screens as we resume our daily activities, our impactful work, and Carits Connect is here as a gateway to showcase the impactful work of Caritas of the Diocese of Boya. And on today's edition, we are going to be exploring how art, play, and music are helping children heal emotionally in the aftermath of the Anglophone crisis. And to help us understand this topic, we have with us on the panel today, we have Ms. Agem Genevieve, the Mental Health and Psychosocial Support Officer at Caritas. We have with us Mrs. Jingwa Laura, the project assistant at Caritas, and we have with us Mr. Deshe Atu, the program analyst at Caritas. Welcome and thank you for joining us on today's episode of Carits Connect.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be here again.
Thank you for accepting the invitation. Okay, so how are you doing today? How did you enjoy the celebration of the 75th anniversary?
Actually, it was a wonderful one. Yesterday was beautiful, the outfit, and everybody was so happy that we are celebrating 75. That means in some years to come, we'll be celebrating 100, and that will be bigger. So it was a great moment.
So Boya was literally Marian blue yesterday.
That's it.
A heavenly sight indeed. Miss Agem Genevieve, how are you feeling? How are you in your skin today? How do you feel being here?
Kind of like very blessed.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like I'm next to God right now because since it's kind of like a season of celebration, so I'm celebrating not just in my spirit but physically as well. So I'm really happy to be here, and I'm going to express the joy. I'm going to express my knowledge, and I'm going to probably add to some people's healings today. So it's kind of like it's an honor being here today. Yeah.
That feels good to hear, Mr. Achu.
Yeah, I feel great. Like Mrs. Laura said, yesterday was a great day. And something that really touched me yesterday was we were not just celebrating the Diocese of Boya, we were celebrating the Catholic Church in Cameroon.
Yes.
Because the Diocese of Boya is a mother diocese of all dioceses in Cameroon. So it was a great day for the entire Catholic world in Cameroon yesterday. So it was very epic. Yes.
It was indeed epic, an amazing sight to see, and a historical event to live. Yeah, so we are going to take on a few updates from you, of course, representing Caritas of the Diocese of Boya on this panel today, and then we are going to dive in our topic of the day to explore and understand it better. So can we have the current happenings at the Diocese of Boya, what is going on at the Caritas headquarters these days?
Okay, with regards to the water hygiene sanitation program that we are having, creating boreholes, constructing boreholes in communities. Presently, last week we had trainings in Wonya Mukumba. We trained them on humanitarian principles, community leadership, and business. We also develop with them their business plan per the community. Presently, they are installing the solar panel in Idi now. So just these two communities are present that we are working on, and waiting for more communities still to engage us so that we start with the construction of borehole.
All right.
Okay, apart from what she has already said, we also have the Kodam department, who we've been doing a lot in that department that is precisely on livelihood. And excuse me. And during this period, we've been dealing with distributions. We've been doing we have been working a lot on distributions, like focusing on distributing food items and hygiene kits for orphan and very vulnerable children. So sorry. during this last week, we're supposed to have a mental health and psychosocial support, but because of the ongoing activities in the diocese, we could not actually carry it out, and so it was postponed. So that's what is happening presently in Kodam.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for that brief but very informative piece of update. We are going to read this release, or let me say notification, from Caritas of the Diocese of Boya as of what concerns the water, sanitation and the hygiene department and their program. So I read: to all Caritas staff, community leaders and stakeholders in the FACO. Notification of activity. Very distinguished project participants, resource mobilization and committee engagement towards the program, access to safe drinking water and fighting against cholera epidemic among the population affected by the socio-political crisis. Dear brethren, I am most honored to inform you that Caritas of the Diocese of Boya is in a process of facilitating access to potable water and carry out hygiene sanitation in 12 communities. The good collaboration enjoyed so far with you encourages us to engage more in this relationship and continue to put smiles on the faces of the neediest. We will continue to put more emphasis for the visibility, transparency and accountability in this process. This can be better achieved with your total participation. In this regard, the Bishop of Boya, proprietor of Caritas of the Diocese of Boya, has instructed his charity arm to work with communities without any discrimination and for the good of all. For this first year, October 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2025, we are targeting 4 communities. It is assumed that in each community, Caritas of the Diocese will provide the following: a borehole with a hybrid pump and 4 solar panels, a water tower and water tank, organization and setting up of a functional water hygiene and sanitation management committee. Work together with the community for the preparation of the internal rules of the management committee and provide 10 copies of the set rules prepared in a participative approach. A signboard for visibility. 3 sessions of training each with 50 participants in the community, didactic materials and refreshments covered. 100 security jackets for community work for common interest. 15 cutlasses for the general cleaning of the community, 10 rakes for the general cleaning of the community, 1 wheelbarrow for the general cleaning of the community, 3 trash cans for the general cleaning of the community, 2 files for the general cleaning of the community, 1 spraying can for the general cleaning of the community, 450 buckets with cover for the community, 30 cartons of savon for the community, 1 business plan for the sustainability of the project worth 500,000 francs CFA, produced TV and radio programs with the consent of the community. Alone, Caritas of the Diocese of Boya cannot achieve these milestones. The program is expected to cover 225 households. The local contribution expected per community is 2,925,000 francs CFA. That is an average of 13,000 francs CFA per household. We have only 4 boreholes for this year. The first communities to provide all their local contribution will receive the kind attention of our office. Take good note that Caritas will formally authorize your cash deposit through a duly signed letter before any transaction. Beware of scammers. Contributions has to be received only by the official of Caritas through an identified mobile money account. In case of any doubt, come directly to the main office situated behind the Divine Mercy Cathedral, Moliko, or contact this number 670 733 104 670 733 104. While thanking you in advance for your kind support, I anxiously wait for your favorable response, and I am ready to provide you all necessary information when need arises at any time. I extend my assurances of respectful esteem. Care of the Bishop of the Diocese of Boya, signed by Pierre Ernest Chinda Lonsi, Director of the Caritas of Boya.
And just to add to this notification, I would like to say this entire project, if you want the copy, you can always ask. If we go through all what we are giving, it's actually worth 10 point something million, close to 11 million. But we are asking the community to give us 2,925,000 for us to receive this package. So we are left with 2 boreholes this year, as I said the first time. We are left with 2 boreholes this year, and I will want to encourage communities to actually engage us. As you know, it is always difficult to dig borehole during the rainy season because you may get just the wrong table of water. So it is always good to engage us between this time till June, so that we do the draining at once. Meanwhile, we'll wait for other communities to gather their money for next year.
Okay, thank you very much for that very vital piece of information. So let's begin by understanding the foundation of today's topic. What is creative healing all about? What do we mean by creative healing in the context of children's mental health?
Okay, creative healing is simply act of using music, play, and kind of dance in order to like bring out children from a traumatic experience, or bring out children from traumas or depression and so on. That's just what it's all about.
Okay.
Like adding to her voice, it's a form of therapy. Yes, it's a form of therapy to actually make people to get out of some kind of emotion, some kind of trouble and all of that. It's not only just about children. We as adults who use creative ways, I think most of the time, probably when you're sad, you want to listen to music. You want to listen to that music that calms you down. So that's actually what it is. Just a therapy to help your emotions, to help build you, and to help gain some confidence.
Okay, like maybe also take you away, maybe like a distraction from what you're going through. Okay, so how does it work out? How does it function as a therapeutic tool?
As a therapeutic tool, it can function as Madam Jane said. We can use dance. We can use singing, we can use art, we can use storytelling. So it is what you like, what you prefer actually. So that is how it goes. So you can dance it. I think Mr. Atiu will even relate to me when it comes to that, because he is into dancing. He can dance. I can sing for Africa. So it depends on whatever tool you think that you can connect with at the moment. So it's helping it any way that the children will want it.
Yeah, just to add to what she said already, I want to take an example of a child. I was kind of like going through some trainings or during my training periods, and I discovered that especially drawing, this child was good at drawing. Like you've said, people prefer some people may
what
prefer
they
drawing,
connect to.
what they connect to exactly. And this child was more connected to drawing. And this child was kind of like it was a depressed, let me say words because it's back then. She was depressed, and the parents were kind of like trying to find out why this child had these issues. And in the process, the therapist came in. I wasn't the one. So they kind of like contacted a therapist, and most of the time they discovered that the child will always feel like she doesn't want to talk to anybody. She's scared of everybody around. And we're like, okay, what's really the child's problem? And nobody could actually discover the child's issue. And one of these days, she dropped, whenever she makes her drawings, she drops them under the pillow. And when her therapist came in, she was trying to talk to the child. When the child stepped out, she opened the pillow and discovered that there were pictures. And she was like, why is the child always scared of people, especially a male? When she was like going through the picture, she discovered that the child was being lashed each time, and because she would see a picture of her standing and a man using a whip on her constantly, and the mother was never aware that this is what the child is going through. So from there now, when the therapist discovered that this is what the child has been drawing, she was like, does anybody always? She just said, yes, daddy always does this to me. And that's when they discovered that the child is being molested. And it's a whip, it's a constant use of a whip on her, and so she was scared of not just the father but any male figure around. So that's how did it happen? How did the therapist discover? Is through drawing. So the child expressed herself. At times you can even use something like music. When the child is singing, at one point she will forget herself and start singing her troubles. And that's when the child keep repeating something, like I love lashes. I'm like, she's singing something that always occurs to her. I'm like, no, you want to know why the child keeps repeating that particular word during her singing. That's because the child has been experiencing something that at times that's what she's trying to like express during singing. So most of the time, if a therapist is really keen, it will be very It will be very easy for you to discover what the child is actually going through, because most of the time the children don't want to tell you. They feel like, especially when they have not had that confidence in you, it will be very difficult for a child to talk to you. So at times these are the things that makes a therapist to easily identify what the child is going through and how the child can easily be helped. And it's true that what the child gives into, that you can easily help the child. Probably through more drawings, you can at times when you draw out your trouble. When let me use this land that is easily used, like a problem one shared is problem shared is a problem half solved. Yes, at times that is what happens when a child is kind of like, when a child shares, okay, probably through singing, through drawing. The more the child is drawing, the more the child becomes addicted to drawing, and the child becomes like focused. And at one point you discover that the child no longer like focuses on the pain, but the child is now focuses on what she is doing, like the creation she is doing with her drawing,
like getting busy so that you don't have time to feel.
Yes, they forget it. I think Mr. Atuka mostly talk on dancing, because he's a coach when it comes to dancing, and I think he knows more when it comes to such activities, because he's a trainer and he's a coach as well.
Okay, that was kind of sad and inspiring to hear at the same time. It's encouraging to really pay attention to children and what they are connected to, and also from there it equally shows the importance of getting children to have some help, or getting help when you are facing a certain situation that you are overwhelmed by. All right, so these methods these creative methods, are they globally recognized, or is there any form of regional psychosocial, is it part of the regional psychosocial support framework for children in conflict zones?
Yes, when you get into coordination meetings, cluster meetings, or with mental health and psychosocial support experts, like maybe what UNICEF usually organizes, you realize that it is highly recommended that you introduce what they will also call play therapy, especially when you're dealing with children. Okay. Because children are always very shy. Yes, especially when they see an adult in front of them asking them questions. It sounds as if
they did something wrong, and
yes,
you're trying to pin them down for it.
So the best way is to let them play. At times you can just allow them to play around, and you now as a therapist, you just go around observing one or two things. Yes. So it's very highly recommended.
Or maybe just asking random one question there, making it like
she was saying, if you realize that maybe a child is drawing horrific stuffs, you can ask calls your attention, like, what are you drawing? Why are you drawing? Maybe you see that it's something consistent. It's hiding maybe an underlying trauma of maybe what the child is going through in the house. So the therapist has to be very observant. Yes, because the children, that is how they speak. And other children, the art is actually a coping mechanism for them. Yes, it's a coping mechanism, and it's very important to leverage on this coping mechanism than at times trying to create new ones. Because like they were saying, for me, for example, my experience with dancing, I became a dancing coach because right from childhood I had some trauma, and my only way to get out of that trauma was through dancing. And I would say I always thank God that my parents were very understanding, where they're supportive. Yes, when I would look at Michael Jackson and the way he's dancing, I'm very interested. They'll buy more of Michael Jackson tracks and give me. So they understood that that was my coping mechanism, and they allowed me to actually thrive in it.
And just with your coping mechanism, I just want to encourage parents, because
Exactly.
what you are saying is actually true. Fun fact, most of the time parents will say, when they see you drawing, you cannot be a drawer. When they see you dancing, you are not a dancer. That's not your profession. Yeah, you are working with Caritas, but that is what helps you to calm down. That is what helps you to grow. So it is always important that even if you don't earn money for that particular profession, it helps you. It helps you in the profession that you are in. So it is always good as parents to be very keen, observant to what your children like, and then try to encourage them more. Yes.
Helps your general well-being.
Yeah, taking want to there's something he said about being observant. I want to just say something about a child during, it's an example actually, during our session in December. We had a child who the child could not actually talk. When others are playing here, the child will go and sit somewhere isolated. I was like, why is this child like this? When I kind of took the child, she was like, no, are you not, what is happening? Why don't you want to play? She was just, she didn't want to talk. And the child is about 3 to 4 years. When I called the mom, she was like, no, that is how the child is. She actually came from Manfei, and the child experienced this kind of gunshots. Like she was in the middle and she was seeing gunshots going on. So the child has been traumatized from there and has been growing with that. At times it's difficult to see the child playing. People can be playing, she's just sitting and looking at people, and she's not even there. She's not. Her mind is really far off. So I think when we brought her towards the play, she will play, but when you are not focused, she goes away. Yeah. So it's a call for parents to be very observant. One thing I really like about Caritas, the way we function right now, we mostly use the play because we deal with children. This is a tool we mostly use because we actually deal with children. So we just call you the parent. That it's not like your child has a mental health issue or what, but we just call the parent like, okay, we want your children, we just want to celebrate with these children. And when the children come, that's when we discover that majority of these kids actually have issues, and these issues that parents are not aware of. Not because they don't care or they care less. That's just because they are not really attentive. They don't really observe their children keenly. So one thing I want to say is, if you have an organization or someone calls you that, okay, I'll have this play kind of stuff for children, please let them go. Actually, let them go, and it will help them. Yeah.
Okay. All right. You already explained to us that you've already made us to understand that Caritas of the Diocese of Boya applies this play therapy into their work when it comes to assisting children mentally recover from the struggles within the crisis. Okay, so can you describe for us what a creative healing session typically looks like at Caritas during field activities?
Okay, it's very simple. The basic idea is have fun with the kids.
Okay.
Don't be too formal, don't be too instructive, don't be too strict. Apply some strictness when it comes maybe to their security.
Yes.
But when it comes to relating with the children, you have to be a bit loose. So what happens on ground when you're with activities of Caritas, after maybe the children are being registered, at times we play music, because at times when children just come and you just want to involve them in activity or in some games,
Yeah.
they are still a bit shy.
A bit
Yes.
shy, yes.
Though
The
that
environment
music,
is
music
strange.
is a universal
The people,
language.
yes.
Music speaks to everybody. Yes. Even at times, some of the disabled children we have had, they feel a bit open when music starts playing and they see the other kids dancing around. So when we play the music and the children just get into it, they start dancing without any, I would say, any direction. They dance anyhow they want to dance. You just allow them have fun anyhow they have
Yes.
fun. So while that is going on, the games are prepared at various spots. So from the dancing now, you can now gather the children together now and now involve them in group game, because it's also good that they don't play individually. They also learn to play together.
To foster social
connections with each other. So after they finish dancing, we bring them together with social games, team games, and we prizes. You know that children like prizes. At times a child might be reluctant to involve in a game, but when he sees that the other played and he was awarded something, he gets involved. So that's how those are like baits that you use to bring the children into the game.
Okay.
Yes. So after the games, we have distribution of toys, we have sharing of food, we have pictures, and definitely that's just it. Just have fun with the games. And one important thing too is that the staff, the team members have to be part of the games. We don't sit behind and observe the children playing. We get online and get childish with them, climb on a swing and swing with the child. It's actually very fun for the children to watch adults playing stupid games. Yes. So, and it's also a source of healing for them. When you see it, when you laugh a lot, it's also a very big moment where you actually explode, send out all the trauma that you have within you.
Yeah.
So when we push those children to actually laugh out by seeing maybe an adult struggling with a game that for him is ABC, yes, it's actually very fun, and it's part of the healing. It's part of the healing.
All right.
And they become even happier when you lose.
Yes, when you lose. Yes.
You as the adult when you lose, because I can remember during the Christmas game in Limbe we had, and we were doing the basketball. I mean those children laughed at me for not throwing the basketball ball inside the net. Meanwhile, they were just from a distance, and then they could throw very well. So it is actually fun for them to see us adults play with them, and they become very comfortable. The number one thing that we ensure, especially this, is their security. Now these children are coming without their parents, so we are assuring first of all their parents that we will bring back your children safely, and that is why we always carry them in a team, and then we take them back afterwards so that the children go home very, very safe.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. We've dwelled a lot on art, creative and structured play. I think we've also spoken about music, but on a deeper level, we would like to understand what role does music play in fostering emotional stability or joy, especially in children on this side of our community.
You know that Africans are really, we normally used to communicate a lot when it comes to music. Yes, so I would feel like not this side of the community, but someone once said something to me, and which is still in my soul, that anybody who never, if you are a kind of person who listens to music and you are not moved by music, then you are rich, because even rich is chance. So music is kind of like it's something different that it's like an instrument. It corrects emotions without you, the listener, even knowing. And for example, for those who are constantly depressed, and really like music is kind of like a form of healing to them. At times you don't even know. When they play a music or whatever they like, they easily get out of that depression. I'll take an example for myself. I don't know how to sing. Unlike my colleague who says she can sing for Africa, but I don't know how to sing. I have a very bad voice, so but I prefer listening. Whenever I'm stressed or really angry, I have a particular music I will just play. Once I play the song, I kind of like focus in the wordings. When I focus on it, I find myself singing. Before I want to realize it, I've even forgotten that I was angry and I move out of. So music is kind of something that it's an instrument on its own. It's kind of like different from other these other tools, but it's an instrument that works faster. It works faster for almost everybody because everybody loves music.
Okay.
Yeah, adding to what Madam Jane says, music is actually helps you to communicate. Now, the things that you're not supposed, the things that you cannot communicate verbally, it helps you to communicate. And children, most of the time, they learn with music. So using music, first of all, using music as a tool, as a creative tool, just falls in line. It's a natural tool. I mean, aside even music, because you hear of song A, B, C, that's how they learn. So imagine their own coping strategies with stress and trauma. It would definitely start from music before going to other aspects. I think when I was small, I wanted to be a musician, and I liked Beyonce, but my voice was really
it was really not Beyonce.
It was not Beyonce. It was not giving Beyonce, but that was what I liked at the moment. So you see that music is something that is just inbuilt. When you start singing, I mean, even my child in the house, he's 9 months. When I start singing, it's as if he's humming something to It's as if he wants to sing with me but does not know how to say it. So music helps. And then music too is another way to pass on a message to children. I can remember during our gender-based violence seminars, workshops, sessions, we would always sing to children. If you touch my private part, I will tell, I will tell. If you touch my private... So it was something, and then you continue. I will tell it to my mommy, I will tell it to my daddy. If you touch my private part, I will tell. Now, just to say it, that nobody should touch your private part, it's good. But when you sing it, I'm telling you, those children will keep it. It will stick. And even if they cannot verbally say something is happening, maybe they can sing that song, and maybe it's a notification that something is happening.
Code red.
Yes.
If I want to say something briefly about music.
Okay.
Have you ever experienced this thing that there's a particular music you know you should not listen to because maybe it's immoral? But one day you sit and the music keeps playing in your head, or you sit and you just hum the music before you hold yourself back. Yes, yeah. Because even science has proven that music vibrates. Music is vibrations, and our DNA at times matches with the vibrations of those sounds. That's why at times when you sit, it's like the chemistry in your bloodstreams are screaming that something is playing there. Match up with it. That's why even if you don't want it, you feel yourself shaking, moving to a song that you don't like. So music is just that universal language that it speaks to even animals.
Exactly.
Even animals. At times you can play a music and you realize that a dog, you've watched all this TikTok of the dog that is vibing to one rap song in the car. Yes. You see that even animals are affected by music. So I just believe that there's just something to music, something that God put in music. You know, music was originally created to worship God. The devil just had to use it to twist it in the other way. So music is God's language to communicate to us. That's why we say singing is praying twice. So yeah.
Okay, like I'd just like to put all of what we said, like to summarize it in the sense that because there's this quote that says music does not need permission to penetrate your soul. Yeah, so that's basically it with music. And with all of what you've said, it's definitely not agreeable that music is very instrumental in fostering healing. Okay, so it's always good to ensure that the methods that we apply, especially with children, are culturally appropriate, that their parents, the guardians and the parents of these children consent with these methods. So how do you ensure that the methods that you apply are culturally appropriate or adapted to this region, to the Fako division? To be more specific, since the works of Caritas of the Diocese of Boya are within the Fako division?
First of all, in developing our project, we do an assessment.
Okay.
And we have a background of every place that we are supposed to execute that project. Now, for first of all, engaging these children into our creative way, which is the fun way. We first of all find out in our schools what the children are interested in.
Yes.
We look at the plays that they like. We look at what will really draw their attention more. Now, if we are going to Boya, we look at the schools in Boya, because at least your beneficiaries will be within the schools in Boya. If you are going to Limbe, we look at the schools in Limbe and see the ways and the things that they would like. And even the place, because I can remember in Boya we went to the monument because the children actually like that place, the monument. In Limbe we went to Asef because everybody is talking in Limbe, everybody is talking about Asef. So we actually look at that area and what the people like in that area before doing any activity. So that is how we look at it in every of our project, not just this fun way. In every project we look at those assessments before we step into doing that project.
Okay.
Yeah, and to add to to just coin it, most of the time we look at the culture of the place. If our program is not or our the tool will not be it's not culturally acceptable, we don't implement
don't
it
take
there.
the risk of
because
introducing it there.
yes, exactly, especially because when we are working on mental and psychosocial support, you need to be very sensitive.
Meticulous,
Because you don't implement something, don't use a tool in a community which will stigmatize any child in that community. For example, we know that dancing, people of that community, that we go into some communities, it's not really, it's rare to see anybody just sit and dance in the street, and you just gather people's children and they start dancing in the street, and you in your mind you've done something. Yes, it's true, the child will forget or the child will be healed, but the child will be stigmatized each time they say, "Nah, picking that way with the dance all day for that place no." And if they shaking weights, it goes on, you don't even know how to dance. It's kind of like a stigma already. And once they say that, you hear them chuckle, they will obviously laugh. And that children, they don't know what they are doing. You've already destroyed that. You were coming to heal, but you've added more salt to the injury.
Yes, to the injury.
So before we go into any community, like she said, we have to do an assessment, a proper assessment, and we are mindful of what is acceptable in any community. We are culturally conscious. We are religiously conscious. If this particular religion, because we don't just deal with the Catholic Church, we deal with anybody. So as long as you're a human being,
like without discrimination.
Yes, we are not. We don't discriminate when we are. We are implementing any project. So we make sure it will not. It will not harm. It will not disturb your religion. It will not destroy your relationships in the community and so on.
Cause more damage.
Exactly, because if you go into a place where there is a particular religion and we go and be doing things that are against that particular religion, these people will not like to participate. And even those who participate, they can be termed outcasts or blacklisted, and it's a big problem. We've created a bigger problem. So most of the time during assessments, we check all of this. It is a work of experts in mental health and psychosocial support to make sure that these things are in check before we go into any community.
All right. So with all of this being said and understood, how do children typically respond to the sessions? Like looking at the sessions you've had so far and the ones that are forthcoming, are they enthusiastic? Are they hesitant? How do they feel? Are they engaged in the entire thing, or you have to put in so much work?
It depends the community. Sorry, like in some communities will go, like the last year, the children were kind of like a little bit hesitant. They didn't know what they were coming, because we didn't tell. They don't even know what is happening. They will just sit in a place and they're like, what are these aunties coming to do? They will see a vehicle and they start oblivious. During that period we had to put in a lot. You see, like he said, staffs involving them into playing and so on before we get them to do certain things. We had to convince some. I remember my colleague Madame Feli, this is really her domain. She will always she has a way of convincing these kids. If she says take this balloon and throw, if you don't want to throw, she will take it and she will do it herself. And this is how these children got involved. It took us a lot and a lot of resources as well. But last year it was kind of like different. I'm talking about 2023. So last year was 2024. So last year's program was a little bit different. The children were kind of like involved. They loved what was brought to their table. We didn't have to do a lot. And what we are planning for still 2025 is kind of like a bomb, because this we are going to mount equipment for children. Like, sorry to use the word bomb. I'm sorry. I did a lot with children and movies, so almost most of the time you hear me using this word. We are going to set up a lot of equipment. We have, is it trampoline they call it, and we have swimming pools. A lot of it. I don't know if that's the right word. You can correct me. Is it trampoline or trampoline? Trampoline, yeah. Yes. A basketball, water guns, and so on. And we are going to use our center, our space. We are going to create a child-friendly space in our office. The environment is compound. Yes, is big enough to contain all of this equipment. And once just that the vision of these children will not be able to hold themselves. You just, once they enter, you just have to just run and are going straight to what they like. So it's going to be something that will not even stress.
You make it irresistible.
The colors too. So because what we are what the vision is, we want the children to the colors to attract. Once you just sight the gate and everywhere is colorful, they will not even listen to you. They'll just rush to what they want to go and see. And you see children jumping into the swimming pool, whereas they are not even ready. They have not even removed their dresses. So that is what we want.
That's what you're visualizing.
That is our vision. And it's going to happen come anytime soon. We are planning, and we already have everything. In fact, everything is already in place. The only thing now is we are looking for a date or a perfect time,
convenient time,
for these children. And we know that it is school period, so that's the only where a place. Really, that's the only thing that is like
holding you back,
disturbing us a little. But we are programming, and once the time is set, we will not even have to talk. The TV, the cameras, everybody will be talking.
Yes. From your visualizer, I think I want to become a kid, not a traumatized one, but I really feel like becoming a kid so that I can have the privilege or the opportunity to enjoy those facilities, because the explanation, I just pictured it in my head, and then
you don't even need to be a kid. Automatically, I'm a kid just by the fact that I'm a staff in Carits and such program is coming to Carits. Automatically, I'm a kid. The last session, I discovered that my colleague said, you were too happy because you played throughout. I forgot that I came with kids. I played throughout, and when I reached home, I even forgot that I didn't have money that day, and I was really relaxed. So it's not just for the kids. The staffs will be involved, and you are going to be invited. Obviously, you have to be there.
Thank you.
You have to be there to cover our event.
Obviously.
Okay, thank you very much for the open invite. I just hope that no kid will make me cry, because sometimes I really feel like crying. Maybe I'll just join the kid and cry, and then I'll just say that maybe you know, like when something is paining you and then you just see an opportunity, you know,
get it out.
Yeah, that there's a cry, there is someone, then you get there, people are crying, and then you join them, and it's like you're crying because someone is there, but nobody really knows that you were looking for an opportunity to cry. So no child should cry. There's no child should cry.
Anything that the child does, just follow. If he's crying, follow, help him cry. And when you cry, it's like, no, they are unserious. So you are letting yourself out. You are relieving yourself. If it reaches that level that you will no longer be able to hold your emotions, Mama, forget about camera first. Go find some place comfortable. You are trying to relieve yourself. It's a healing session. It's going to be a healing session both for the staffs and for the children. When it's time for you to cry, hide and cry very well and come back. After all, it's a free world.
Thank you for making the world so free. But nothing is free. You know, like when we used to grow up, they would like we used to look up to elderly people, like they have no troubles, and then now you just get to understand that problems are constant. So at every point in time you have trouble. So I believe that the child seeing an elderly person crying and then they want to be like that elderly person, maybe they'll have to rethink.
That's why I say you keep your camera, go and hide somewhere and cry, relieve yourself.
All right, so with all of this planning, it sounds so beautiful, and then it really gives one the zeal to participate even uninvited. So how are caregivers and the volunteers who participate in this event or who participate in this event usually are trained to guide children through the creative process in a safe way?
The first thing is understanding trauma. You as the caregiver, you need to understand what is trauma.
Yeah, you cannot cure what you don't understand.
That is it. So that is why I want to say particularly to our nursery and primary school teachers, for them to understand, because they are the first teachers. They are the first caregivers for these children, because they spend how many months with them. This is a whole lot, and now the parents are too busy to look at their children. So you as the teachers, you have the responsibility to first of all understand what is trauma, and the team as well, because we cannot be working with these kids during a whole session and then we don't understand. That's why we have many trainings, many online trainings, physical trainings that helps you to understand first of all what trauma is, and then first get courses on child development. When you have courses on child development at every stage, you know how a child should behave at every stage, so that you know if something is wrong, if he is 6 and he's still restraining, then there is something wrong. You need to know how to engage the child with other children. And then there is another thing, the art therapies. Now for art therapies, you could decide you want to learn dance for these children's sake. You could decide you want to learn music, you want to learn how to draw, just something. But as a team, I think we are all very diverse. If I know singing, he knows dancing, he knows art, she knows art. You can also know how to play instruments. So it's a whole team. But if you as a caregiver, you have to do this alone, then you have to learn a bit of every of these arts, so that you'll be able to relate to these children more. Now, take for example, you brought a story on the therapist looking at the child's drawing. Now, if the therapist was not keen or does not know art very well, the therapist wouldn't have been observant. But now, because she knows actually what drawing is and how drawing speaks to people, so she could easily identify that this is a traumatic experience for this child, and the child is actually expressing. But we as parents, the only thing we know is parenthood, and we don't know art. I think
the parenthood.
I think we as parents too should also learn this art very well. All of it. Learn music. I can remember my mom would say that actually parents are actually the best musicians. From nowhere you will find a song for your child to calm down. So actually from nowhere you will dance for that child.
Exactly.
So I want to take back my word. No, parents, you are the number one teachers of all these arts. So thank you very much. And we have to all the caregivers have to go through all of this for them to better understand this kid, for them to better engage the kids as well, and as for the children to be healed totally. You don't want to heal children partially. You want to heal them completely. We want that by the end of this project, by the end of the event that we are having, that these kids are going home calm, free, and very happy.
I want to add something to what she said. We do a lot of trainings, exactly, for staffs especially. But what for caregivers, apart from teachers, since we cannot have access, what we do is during our distributions in the field, doing, especially I'm talking about Kodam because we do a lot of distributions when it comes to livelihood. During our distributions, we do a lot of trainings for parents. We do trainings, especially for parents who have traumatized children. I remember last time I gave a training for positive parenting for or strategies for traumatized children, on how to raise children who have undergone trauma. And I think I wrote an article on that some time ago, how to overcome trauma, or strategies on how to raise children who have really
undergone trauma.
Who have gone through trauma. So we do a lot of trainings, not just for the staffs, but when we go to the field, we'll teach the parents as well. We'll try to elevate them, because we all need this thing. Now, I want to say something. Yeah, I want to say something lastly on mental health. I think this is a month for mental health.
Mental health awareness month.
Exactly.
Yes.
And mental health is not just for the children. This time around is for everybody. You know, for a parent's mental health is very important, because if your mental health is not stable, you will not be able to raise a good child. So we are what we have in the pipeline during this month. We will not just go to communities, but this time I can visit schools to talk about mental health to these children. We should not just limit it to our participants. We just have to sort out slots in schools and talk to these children and parents and teachers as well. So that is what we have for this month. So this month should not pass us by.
Okay, thank you very much for that elaboration. Can you please give us some of the advantages or the long-term impact of this creative play, this creative therapeutic tools that are used to help children to heal from their various crises in the long run?
Okay, apart from an instant relief, because when they are on the field, instantly they feel happy.
Yeah.
Yes. Apart from that instant relief, when maybe you associate to that play, skill development. Exactly. For example, if you realize that a child can draw, and during the play therapy, maybe you involve the children in drawing, maybe you say give a competition, the person will draw this, and you give a prize. The long-term effect is that a child might leave that place with the awareness that I can draw. Yes. And it becomes like a coping mechanism for that child. Each time maybe he's in the house, even if maybe say for example the parent shouts at the child, at time instead of crying, he can just retreat somewhere and he's just drawing. So it helps the children to actually discover themselves, discover the inborn talents that they have, that maybe on their own, because of the trauma, they could not actually know that, hey, I can sing, I could dance this way, I can draw. But during the play therapy now, they discover a lot of these talents. I think somebody was giving us a success story of a testimony of her child that is now okay. The child used to be very sad, very reserved, and now the child is doing very well in school
and answering a lot
of questions, asking a lot. You see that during that session, you might look at it as if we are just playing and going back, but there's a very strong impact on the children. The children are people that they don't forget things like us. We have a lot of things doing in our head that we tend to forget. But those little things that we do for children, it sticks. Yes, the child will go back home and remember that I scored 3 rows in the basketball net, and he will develop a passion maybe for basketball. Yes, so it's a lot. It actually helps them. I, for example, till today I see dance. I coach dancing because dancing was a coping mechanism, but from there I realized that I could be a great dancer, and with the collaboration, the encouragement of my parents, today I'm happy to teach other people how to dance. And I've seen what dancing can do in children and in adults, in myself. Yes.
All right, thank you very much. This also lays emphasis on the importance of developing positive coping mechanisms. It equally lays emphasis on that, because it gets to help you who is having the troubles, and then you equally maybe get to help people in the nearest future. Okay, before we wrap up, can you briefly tell us how during follow-ups you are able to sustain creativity in your methods of following up these children to recover psychologically?
During follow-up sessions, after the play, like a play in December, we are supposed to have follow-up sessions, and each community has a day for follow-up. And during these follow-up sessions, we have skill building, continuous skill building. We don't just end by like playing for one day. Like during the Christmas period, we played the whole day and left it. What we do is we identify some children who may need follow-up. I remember we went for a trauma healing session, and I identified a number of children who needed follow-up. And to follow up these children, that's when now we bring in the other aspects of this tool. Like we can bring in the drawing. We identify what you are good at. What do you like most? Is it music? Or just kind of like sit we can do a one-on-one session or a group session. And especially for those who are comfortable. This one is mostly good for adolescents. So who can actually express themselves. Do you want it to be in a group? Can you talk in a group? Do you want to learn from another person's experience, or do you want a one-on-one? And during this session, I discovered that I had a teenager who preferred talking to me alone. There were other children, but he was like, no, I don't want to tell them, probably for fear of being mocked. So he would call me, or like, okay, miss, please, I want to talk to you. Auntie, I want to talk to you. And each time he wants something, he was like, auntie, please, can I see you outside? And he actually uploaded everything. And at one point I discovered that he called me outside again after the session. It was a 3-day session with these children. He called me, like, he has decided to forgive. He has decided to let go of what has been. And I could actually see the child talking, because this child has been quiet since the first day. He's this kind of a very quiet child. But after the session, I discovered that he was a little bit open. And apart from this session, we have skill building, that we learn other aspects. Like apart from dancing, we have baking as well. During this upcoming program, we are planning for a compressed mental health program. So during all of this, we are going to introduce other tools like baking, like a lot of we just identify what you are good at, and we make sure we help you do it. It's a session on its own.
Okay, thank you very much for that. It's time for us to pack our loads and leave the studio because our time is up, but we would like to watch this success story, this video, before we draw the curtains of this program.
I am Father Jude Tadeus Mbi. I am an animator for this trauma healing session, and I'm working with Father Moses Tazo. So we are doing the trauma healing, the biblical approach from the Alliance Biblique in Yaoundé.
Moses Tazo, and I'm here with the children. 11 of them will turn up to see how I can help them to reactivate them from all the trauma that is going around the country. Many of them have already suffered a lot in their homes, but also in their schools and where they were living before. And the fact that some have been displaced in their environment, from their work and school, must have caused them some harm, some kind of hard wounds. We call them trauma. And we are trying to see how we can help them to recover, to heal those wounds. especially not only for themselves but for their families. We hope that by the time they leave here, most of those wounds will be healed, although healing is a continuous process. But when we begin here, we hope that in their families, they'll continue to heal themselves and to heal the rest of the family. That's what we're really looking forward to. God, we can do the most we can, but God is really the person who heals, right into our marrow. So we're also trying to accompany them with prayers and also let them understand that God is powerful and God is loving and God can always intervene when it's necessary. But all of us, we have to make our own effort to say our pray with God to receive the healing. God offers for free. So we have to be available for our healing. And we have to help one another. One thing about therapy is that we need community. We need one another. We need relationships. So I also try to see how we can strengthen their relationships with their families so that they can live happily and they can live joyfully. And even when those problems come, when there are crises, that together they can share their feelings, they can talk out their feelings, and then they can receive healing from one another, mostly from God Himself.
You are told to do what? To bury your emotion. You keep it inside. If it is only one, it's easy, or two. But it reaches a point where, it cannot go. However much you try, it keeps coming up, and it is as if you are going to break. This is what is happening inside. This is happening. This is illustrating what is happening, not in a basin, but inside the heart.
My name is Agem Genevieve. I'm the mental health and psychosocial support of Caritas Diocese of Boya. With me here are children from Wassa, Sase, and Tole. We are here for a trauma healing program we started on the 14th of February, that was Friday, and it's going to end today, Sunday. So we are going to listen to them talk, what they have learned and how they are going to put them into practice. So we'll listen to them as we start with the first person. Margaret, you're welcome.
Thank you. Okay. At first, it was hard for me to forgive, but now I can forgive one another. So the pain may still be in my heart, but I'm ready to forgive you.
I am Chamba James Kuba. I learned that at first it was difficult for me to forgive. It was difficult for me to forgive, but now I have learned how to forgive, even though it hurt, but at least I have to forgive the person and not free my mind.
Hi, my name is Adolf Dimba. So at first, I found it really difficult At first, I found myself very aggressive, but now I no longer feel the urge to be aggressive because our fathers taught us how to control our anger and not be aggressive all the time.
Hello, my name is Ilan. At first, I was feeling traumatized, but with the help of this program, I don't feel the pain anymore.
My name is Mbake. I come from Boassa. I come from Boassa. I've been here for 2 days and I've learned a lot. I've learned about how not to suppress your emotion and let it out. I've learned about forgiveness. I've learned about forgiveness, how to forgive somebody so that you can be free. And I've learned about when you forgive somebody, the Lord can also forgive you. At first, I love to keep a lot of things in my heart, but now due to this training, I've become a better person and I've learned how to forgive and
They came here under the National Episcopal Conference and introduced this method into the diocese. And we have taken it up, and we are attending to cases of persons who are affected by the crisis which is ongoing in the Anglophone regions of Cameroon. We have run many such sessions already with adults, and also with young adults, that is teenagers, children from say 10, 12 years and above. We've been running sessions like this with help coming from the Carmelite sisters, and who are really who have obtained for us the sponsorship of the program, and also with the help of Caritas, who meet these cases of our brothers and sisters in the field, and who can direct them to us for this program.
Thank you, the Carmelite sisters. Thank you, Diocese of Stanford. Thank you, Diocese of Boya. Thank you, the Caritas.
Okay, that was it. To all our viewers, if you are touched by what you heard, remember that healing is not just about it's not always about just medicine. It could be a drum beat, it could be a color pencil, it could be a game of hide and seek. And just a brief reminder, this month is Mental Health Awareness Month, and so we'll have a lot of talks surrounding mental health and psychosocial support. So we'd like to thank you for sticking with us right up to this moment. We thank our panelists, Madam Jingwa Laura, Miss Agem Genevieve, and Mr. Deshe Atu for honoring our invitation this day. We equally thank our tech team, and till we meet again on next episode, remember that where faith meets service and love, we transform lives. Bye bye.